It's Catherine. Today I'm going to be presenting on rheumatic fever. I think this is like my fifth time redoing this. I'm not gonna lie, I'm going a little bit crazy. I keep yapping and it keeps going over time. Anyways, we're gonna be fine. Let's do this. Let's learn about this. Okay, okay. So for our infectious agent, it's gonna be Streptococcus. Let me set a timer, actually. Sorry, give me just one moment. I'm gonna set a timer because this is ridiculous and I keep going over time and it's gonna drive me crazy. Okay. Streptococcus pyogenes is going to be our infectious agent, also known as group A streptococcus. So this infectious agent is associated with three diseases known as strep throat, scarlet fever, and impetigo. I'm going to go a little bit in detail with these diseases, but not crazy because it's obviously not my main focus. So, strep throat, obviously, sore throat. We have a fever, swollen lymph nodes, and it can only be cured with antibiotics. So, also, I wanted to mention that the tonsils in this picture are inflamed, which is also a symptom of strep throat, and it contain pus and all kinds of wonderful things. And then, okay, the next one is going to be scarlet fever. So, scarlet fever is going to be the symptoms are going to be fever, this rash that you can see, and also a sore throat. But this rash, it was described as um, sandpaper like, which is like what? I mean, like I've never had experience with scarlet fever personally, and I've never been around anyone who has had scarlet fever. So that like it's just crazy to me. Like I'm at sorry. I'm like this is a little too much, but imagine your skin feeling like sandpaper. That just like that freaks me out. But anyways, okay. The next one is gonna be impetigo, which is gonna be like it's similar, like it's a rash, it's a fever, like you have a fever. It's I mean it's an infection. It's not as crazy as the others though. It's not super dangerous. But impetigo, as you can see, has like it's like crusty and can only be treated and like can only cause the infection to go away by with antibiotics. Sorry, I'm so tired. Antibiotics can only is the only thing that can make these diseases go away. Any of these, all of them. You need antibiotics. Very important they use antibiotics, and that is going to be important later, and I'll explain more. But impetigo is usually around the mouth and the nose and like the face area. It can be anywhere on your body, but usually there because kids tend to touch their face and like touch each other and touch this and touch that and the things. And it gets into cuts and just wonderful things. Like Dr. Cody says, children are disgusting and I love them. They're so cute, but they're very gross and dirty and little germ babies, but you gotta love them. So you know what? That's fine. Okay. Next, I'm gonna talk more about the infectious agent. So it's human specific, thank God, because we want to take care of our animals and our plants. I love my plants. Anyways, it's human specific. We also want to take care of our humans, but just saying. Okay. Gram negative, or sorry, gram positive. Excuse what I just said. As you can tell in this image right here, it's purple, meaning that it's gram positive, so it stains purple. And then the image next to it, I like this image. I don't like the fact that it's red because that throws you off a little bit because it's gram positive. It's not gram negative. It's not gram negative, it's gram positive. But I like that this image has the shape. Like you can really tell that it is a cockeye shape. So it's either in pairs or in chains. Usually we find it in chains, as you can tell in these images. But I mean, there are a couple of pairs in the gram-positive image. But anyways, in this other image, there are short chains, long chains. So it varies, but they're all the same shape, which is cockeye. Okay, so they are catalase negative, coagulase negative, and then also beta hemolytic streptococci. So don't know exactly what that means. All I know is that they lyse um red blood cells completely, which is like a little terrifying and like what? But they didn't really go into much detail about that, like mechanism and all of those things. But I also didn't research extremely into that. So perhaps that will be my paper. But yeah, that's all that they mentioned. I thought that was important and sh I should mention it. It's also a facultative anaerobe and is transmitted via airborne particles, mucus from your nose and your throat, and objects and food. Objects such as like, your playground and your toys and the mall and the ball pit and just anything that people touch that are infected. It can stay on surfaces for a decent amount of time. I don't know exactly how long, but I do know that it's enough to be very contagious. All right, next slide. Hallmarks of the disease. I'm at 5 minutes, so speed this up a little bit. Hallmarks of the disease is inflammation of the heart, joint, skin, and brain. All the best places to have inflammation. Like, truly terrible. Like, it's so sad. It just, like, that sucks. So it can develop within 1 to 5 weeks of being infected with the infectious agent. This is where the antibiotics comes in that I was talking about earlier, and I said it was going to be important. This is where it comes in. So just because you are infected with the bacteria doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get rheumatic fever. Rheumatic fever comes from not treating the disease, like the bacteria, correctly. So, if you don't want to do antibiotics for whatever reason, you just want to like thug it out, like excuse that description, but if you just want to like um if you just want to not take antibiotics and just like kind of get through the disease, like just deal with it essentially, that's not gonna bode well for you in terms of this fever, this rheumatic fever. But if you are taking antibiotics and you're doing great, then you'll be okay. So usually it's common in children 5 to 15 years old and rare in children younger than 3 as well as in adults. I think that this has to do with hygiene. It didn't really necessarily detail why this is, but my guess is hygiene as well as you tend to start going to school around like, 5 around that age. And whenever you're younger than 3, you are around your family and you're usually being held. You're not like putting things in your mouth and like really walking around too much, like in terms of in public and being around other kids and stuff. You're not doing that too much in those ages. And then whenever you're an adult, you know how to take a shower and you know not to put things in your mouth that you see on the ground. Thank God. I guess some people don't feel that way, but that's okay. Okay, so someone who had rheumatic fever is more likely to get it again if they're infected with group A streptococcus, which is really unfortunate and that sucks. But that's what it is. Okay, let me draw your attention to this image right here. It's going to be a very identifiable rash. So it has a pink ring with a clear inside portion. So it's not necessarily a circular ring, but pink ring, clear inside. That's all you need to know. Very identifiable rash and specific to rheumatic fever. Okay, so symptoms. Some common symptoms are going to be arthritis in the joints, specifically the knees, ankles, wrists, and elbows. And then chorea, which I didn't know that this was a thing before this presentation, but it's jerky, uncontrollable movements. So like think seizure, except don't think seizure. So like seizure, is going to be uncontrollable movements, but for like a certain period of time, like right, like sort of a long period of time, a couple of minutes. Versus this is just going to be more like random, just like it's jerks. Like it's not like a continuous like move. It's like jerks. So think seizure, but don't think seizure at the same time. And then fatigue and fever. So uncommon symptoms are going to be nodules at your joints and then that rash that I was talking about earlier. So if I can direct your attention to this, what are the symptoms of ARF image? That's going to be at the very bottom. It's going to say small, firm, but painless nodules near your large joints. So let me clarify that the arthritis is going to be painful. So this inflammation and redness like at your joints is going to be painful, but that if nodules form, they're just like hard lumps that don't hurt. Okay, and then this other image is just going to be talking about the symptoms again: pink or red skin rash, the red swollen inflamed joints, and the pain at those joints, like the arthritis. All right. Next is going to be heart. So the heart goes through it for this immune response. So some symptoms are going to be chest pain, fluid around the heart, enlarged heart, shortness of breath, heart murmur, fast heartbeat, just all of the things that you want for your heart. Just the greatest things. It can also lead to rheumatic heart disease if it's chronic, more on the chronic side. It weakens the valves between the chambers of the heart. So all the parts that you need to work to pump blood through your body, basically. If it's severe, it will require heart surgery and can even lead to death. So it can get very serious very fast, and it's 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 scary and very serious and very important to get treated. And just take your antibiotics. Just do it. So this image is just going to talk more about the symptoms, but I mean, they're the same symptoms, but I wanted to direct your attention to the breathlessness during physical inactivity, weakness, and tiredness. That's going to come from the lack of oxygen, from the lack of like your heart being able to work and pump blood through your body. So your tissues and your organs and all those things like aren't getting oxygen, or at least as much oxygen as they require to be able to move and like actually function as a human. So yeah, so that's what's going to cause this weakness and this tiredness and breathlessness and all these just horrible things. It's just terrible. Okay, so what is it? Like, what specifically is it? Because we've been talking about the infectious agent, the bacteria, and everything. But what specifically is rheumatic fever? Rheumatic fever is an immune response. So it's not going to be like an infection. Like, yes, it is caused by not treating an infection of group A streptococcus correctly, but it in of itself is not an infection, so it's not contagious. So if you have rheumatic fever, you're not going to be giving it to anybody else. But I do want to clarify that group A streptococcus is contagious. Scarlet fever, impetigo, and sore throat are contagious and very much will infect you. But rheumatic fever is an immune response as a result of like not treating um, the bacteria correctly, so it doesn't go away. Um, so yes, it's not contagious. That's the main takeaway. Okay, so I want to direct your attention to the comic right here because I think it's adorable. But there you have the brain, the heart, skin, and joints, and they all just like look like they look terrified and they look like they're in pain. And I just think that that's a really good representation of what they go through, and especially the heart. Like she's not doing good at all. It's just not good. And then right behind it, you have your your group A streptococcus, and I like that they have like the cockeye like shape. I really like that. And like he looks like he's doing so good, and like he looks like a little super villain. So I think that was hilarious. And then also the antibodies, I really liked that touch because it shows that it's like an immune response. It reminds you of that. Although I know that Dr. Cody would hate the way that they're illustrated here. My bad. I just wanted to add a little bit of fun here. But yeah, anyways, I think that it's a little cute, little image. And then the other image I think speaks for itself. Don't think I need to describe that one. Okay, next up is prevalence. So worldwide, there are going to be 470,000 new cases per year, which is and then there are going to be 282,000 new cases of rheumatic heart disease specifically each year. So the first one was for rheumatic fever, the second one is for rheumatic heart disease. There are 300,000 deaths from rheumatic heart disease per year worldwide. And then in the United States, America, Samoa, as well as Hawaii, there are 1.1 to 1.5 cases per 100,000 people. In Tennessee, there's zero point 0.6 per 100,000. In Utah, there's 3.7 per 100,000. And then this is just a heat map showing the cases worldwide with the stronger red colors being more prevalent, areas of more prevalence of rheumatic heart disease as of 2021. All right, and next is going to be my works cited, and I made it on time, I believe. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope that you learned something, and I'll see you on my panel. Bye.